All right, Amber, we're out for a little bit of a drive today. Got to run a few errands here. I thought I'd show you the clouds and the sky and whatever else we get to see today. Last night driving home, we hit fog in the Cajon Pass, and I hate fog. And it was really thick. So got scary in a few places. I tried to either stay just adjacent to slightly behind a 18-wheeler, or I tried to be behind one so that, you know, I could watch where they were going. So if they crashed, hopefully I could avoid it. But there were places where it would go away and then it would come back again, and the next thing you knew, you were back in this heavy fog, and you know, it was just in pockets. It was breezy, so you know, you thought it would blow a lot of it away, but it always works against you. So anyway, we made it. It was really wet, so that's okay too. All right, we're headed onto the freeway. You can see there across the valley. We're going to be turning towards the direction that you guys live in. I got somebody coming up behind me. They thought I wasn't going fast enough, I guess. Anyway, there as we look across, you can see across the valley towards Rancho Cucamonga, and you can see the clouds there. We're driving, looking towards Loma Linda right about now. And as we continue the curve, we're going to be looking at Redlands right about now. And of course, we're heading kind of towards Redlands right about now. Looking clouds up ahead in the distance. I hope you can see them. Yeah, you can. Zoom in a little bit. Bring it down. They're just off to the right. Of course, the camera's not picking them up, so we'll zoom back out. It's like, whatever. I hate this phone. You know, they put all these little push button things on the phone, and then you push them and it goes to some other stupid thing. Yep. Like I said the other day, I got to buy me another Apple phone, so I have two of them to be irritated with. Not. So anyway, last night, I'll tell you this story while we're driving along, because what else is there to do but to tell you stories while I'm driving along. So last night, we were leaving our hotel, motel, whatever it is, hotel, and I plugged in, you know, that I wanted directions towards home, and I only needed directions to get out of Las Vegas because, you know, they made it so roundabout to get anywhere in that city. You got to follow something. So all's good, and it's telling me what to do, and I'm thinking, wow, this is just great. This is what a phone is meant to do, and I was happy. So I get out of the parking lot, I turn onto the main road, and I go down about 50 feet and all of a sudden, it disconnects from the car. My everything disconnected from the car as far as the phone goes. And so it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going. And I say that because you can't just go any old place, because in Las Vegas, they have torn everything up. And it's been that way for the last 2 years that we've gone there. So this is the 3rd year we've gone to these competitions in Las Vegas. And what is it? It's all tore up. All the freeway, all the traffic, all the overpasses. My God, they're just making a decade of this remodeling of stuff. By the time they get done, they're going to have to start all over again, remodeling of stuff. By the time they get done, they're going to have to start all over again, so they'll never be finished. Anyway, that's that rant. So, I lose my directions. So, I wait a few seconds because sometimes it'll reload, and I get to a corner and it had told me I was going to turn. I don't know if it was the corner I was at or another corner or whatever, so I go ahead and I make this turn. And I'm still waiting for the phone to load back up so I could have directions, so it could tell me what to do, so I'd know where to go. But finally, pops on the screen. And I'm looking, I go, that doesn't look like my phone. So I go into the management and I'm trying to drive and do all this, and it says, oh, it's Kenna's iPhone. And I'm going, I don't want Kenna's iPhone. So now, Grandma has to get her iPhone out of her purse, which of course took another 1.5 minutes, and back up so it could tell you what to do. So I'm driving and I make another turn because, gosh, the freeway's lit to my left at this point, and I know that. So I got to go to the left, and if I drive over the freeway, I got to go to the right, and if I drive over the freeway, I got to go to the left, and if I drive over the freeway, I got to go to the right. So that's where I am now. So I figure somewhere along the line, I'm going to eventually find some place to get onto the freeway. So I turn, and of course, there's nothing but construction. And when I had first decided what to do, I was going to turn back up a side street and go back up to closer to where the Rio was. But that didn't work out. So what I had to do was I was in the turn lane actually. But because there was road construction, the light wasn't changing, but the green light to go across the intersection was changing. And I look in my mirror and there's a line of cars stuck behind me because it's so tight, those cars can't get past me in the regular drive lanes. So now I'm in the turn lane, which is basically blocking the straightforward or the cross traffic lane. And so I look, I check, and I put my blinker on, and I just get out of there and go straight forward. And of course, Grandma's going, and I'm I don't have a choice. So we still, at this point, have no instruction of where to go. So I eventually come up to this point, and we're on top of the freeway. And of course, there's construction there. And so they've moved everything to a weird direction. And now they have one lane going across the top of this freeway. And we're waiting for the traffic on the other side to stop so we can go forward across to the other side. Oh my gosh. So I transit across the freeway. Eventually. By this time, I'm getting sporadic feeding from somebody's phone, whether it's mine or Grandma's, telling me that you gotta turn at the light after this upcoming light. And so I'm going, what, where, who? I'm turning at what light? And so eventually, of course, we come up to some traffic lights, and then I'm trying to decide, well, everything disappears again. I don't have directions. Grandma's trying to get him back on her phone again. And so I'm trying to decide, well, what do I want to do here? And so I come up to the corner by, I think it was the Excalibur. Maybe not, but it doesn't matter. And anyway, they have a right turn lane, you know, that curves. It has an island and you drive through it. And of course, I missed that when the directions said you want to turn right. And so I get up to the corner of the street and I make a right turn illegally. Oh my gosh. Fortunately, the guy that was in the actual right turn lane, fortunately that guy saw me and slowed down and gave way. So now we've got Grandma's phone working in her hand. My phone's trying to work, and but Grandma's phone's telling us that we want to go up to this certain street and turn right. So I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could get on the freeway there, but we'll follow the instructions. It doesn't matter now. So eventually I get, you know, I'm playing with the menu on my car instructions or car, you know, panel. And I finally get to where it says, it starts giving me the instructions. It's my phone now. And it's showing me on the map where we are and what we're doing. And so it says the same thing Grandma's phone says, obviously. So now at least we've got instructions sort of how to get to the freeway, because my gosh, they have complicated that city to no end, because it doesn't matter where you go in a 5-mile block, there is road construction and those bright pink buoy, they look like big trash cans all over the place. And it's like, what, you know, where do I go? And finally I get up to this one street and I follow the instructions, and the instructions are giving me a pretty good set of directions. So with all that said, I going across up to where the freeway is, and I'm almost on top of the freeway so I can get in the turn lane, and it was a left turn onto the freeway, you know, to make the transition onto the freeway. And so as I'm getting there, the instructions on my phone said be in the second to the left lane, you know, to enter the freeway. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of peculiar, because there's actually 2 turn lanes going onto the freeway. And I followed the instructions though. And so as we get closer, we see that they blocked half, you know, the one lane, the furthest left turn lane is blocked. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, good thing I followed the instructions and didn't just do what I wanted to do. I'm sitting in this lane, and some other guy obviously didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't listening to his instructions, and he comes driving up beside me. So, you know, I'm a nice person, and finally when the light changed, I let him in, and I'm just hoping, please don't change again light, because we've already been sitting there for like 5 minutes waiting for the traffic to clear. So I'm going to finish my story. So finally we're at the freeway. Oh my goodness, thank goodness. So happy. And the light changes, and so I let the car that was there in the wrong place, I let them go ahead and go, and then I get to go. And this freeway has this big old long transition lane, you know, getting onto the freeway. So finally that works out. And of course, finally my navigation goes back to normal. It all goes back working the way it's supposed to with the car, so I could see it, I could talk to it. Grandma's is working fine. So now that we don't need the navigation, we have the navigation. It's like somebody somewhere sitting there decided, hey, let's see what we can do if we can screw people up and make life miserable for anybody possible. And that's what they were trying to do. And they succeeded in making life miserable. If you didn't know, I hate iPhones. Because all I've had since I've had iPhones is trouble with them. Did I have trouble with my Androids for 10 years or 12 years? A little. Did I have trouble like I'm having with my iPhone? No. Nothing like this. Oh, iPhones are wonderful. They're the best phone in the world. My God, you guys should buy an Android and you'll find out what the best phone in the world is. It's not an Apple. I got idiots over there at Apple figuring that crap out. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We're going to turn around and let you enjoy some of the clouds as we drive the rest of the way back around towards Highland. So, with that said, let me click this off. All right, here we go. We're back at the road. There's another water tower that I found. So let's cut across to wherever we're going to cut across to. This is Tippecanoe. I hope it goes through. Hey, that rhymed. Gosh, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. My feet show it because they're Longfellows. There's the San Bernardino International Airport. There's Stater Brothers off to the right, which is normally where we end up making our turn. So you start hopefully to get an idea where we might be if you follow along with the other videos. And if you don't, no big deal. Because here's where the Stater Brothers parking lot, or whatever it is, lot is. And right there, those cars turning is normally where I would turn on Mill Street. So I think if I can remember how to get there, I may be able to find the other water tower that was kind of cool. And if I don't, so be it. Just kind of interesting. Must have been a remnant, a leftover, another water tower that was used by the base when it was out here. Because this used to be Norton Air Force Base. Was used by the base when it was out here, and so they had more than the one big water tower that we often see when I drive down 5th or 3rd Street. Yep, there it is. You can see it off there in the distance. If I can can't turn in. There's a roadway right here. Let's see if we can go in there and get a better picture of it. Well, there's the base of it. Let's make a turn here and come back around and see if we can get a good view of it. Because God forbid that I stop and get out of the car. That would be ridiculous. Not as good a view because the sun's right there in the way. The phone's not being cooperative. There we go. Hope I'm not blocking anybody. There's a police officer there. He's probably gonna, what are you doing? You're a terrorist. No, I'm not. I'm being terrorized by everything else I know. Anyway, I thought that was cool. Wanted to share it with you. Let's continue on and see if I can get a different angle of it. I don't know that I can. I don't know why I like water towers. I just think they're kind of fun. Because back in the days, you know, playing with train sets and construction sets. I don't know how you get out of where I am. And I don't know that it matters. There it is from another view. Looks cool. Oh, we got food people here. I don't want them to think I'm gonna raid them or something. Anyway, I just thought you'd enjoy that. We see something different and new. Now we will head on, follow the route the police car took. A bunch of people sitting in their cars here. I don't know what they're doing. That's because I'm never down here. I don't even know where I am. This is San Bernardino. There's an old cool looking down tree. Yeah, Grandpa likes old stuff like that too. This used to be part of the base, so who knows where we are. Green arrow. Now I guess it's part of the airport. All right. This should be third if I'm right. If I'm wrong, it doesn't really matter, does it? Nope, Grandpa, it doesn't matter one bit. Oh, and what's fun is we'll get to see the other water tower as well. So look, this ride is just turning out to be like super fun. There you can see across the valley, the clouds on the mountains over there. Now we're back on 3rd, which is the normal street that if I'm going through San Bernardino, I like to take. Oh, looking straight ahead, it's San Bernardino. That's cool. Cloud layer right there being held down, and then the top of it sticking up through it. Cool view. There's our water tower off to the right. And I'm sorry I can't, well, I guess I could, no, that won't work. The phone's in a bracket, and so it's not something that can be manipulated too much. And I think I already said that. so I don't need to keep saying it. But you know, I was a teacher, and so you end up saying everything 10 times because there's always the kid that never listens to it the first 9 times. And people say, well, why don't you just say it one time and make sure they listen? Good grief. Have you ever been in a classroom and taught with kids? Not. Because they won't listen until the 10th time. All right, we can take a look at the tower. Let me zoom back out. And take a look. And then take a look back over towards the mountains where we're headed. Because the freeway's over there. But also, I got to go to the grocery store again. Get a few things. So, we'll be stopping by over there to pick up a few things. Now would be the time to see that airplane that I talked about the other day coming in, because that was pretty impressive. And we're coming up to the corner, but I don't see any airplanes wanting to land. But I honestly think that that was probably one of the aircraft, you know, the fighting jets that they bring in here and they fill with Phos-Chek. Because over here at San Bernardino International, Norton Air Force Base, whatever you want to call it, they have big tanks of Phos-Chek, and they keep several of the aircraft over there. When there aren't fires, you can usually see them out on the, do they call it tarmac? But anyway, the day that I was here and the airplane was coming over, I kid you not, it was flying. If I were to get up, it flew directly in line, which probably lines up with its runway, but it flew directly in line with the street that's right there that we're going to go on in just a second. And it was low. Like I said in one video where I talked about it or texted it or whatever, I don't remember. Because Grandpa does nothing but talk. You could see the nuts and bolts on the landing gear. I wasn't looking at the pilot. I was more concerned that they were going to land on me. Because you don't usually see the planes come in that low. Clouds are pretty over the mountains. And we're about to the end of this video run. I'm changing lanes here, trying to get over so I can jump on the freeway. So I'm going to be signing off. I love you. Pray for you. I hope for you. And until I chat with you again in another wonderful, exciting video, or I'll be texting you anyway before then, but in another wonderful, exciting video. I love you. Well, we'll take a little bit of the view coming this direction of the mountains because they're pretty, and then I'll cut it off. I'm getting off at baseline anyway, so don't have very long. Okay, that's it for this time around. I want to call it off and close it down. Bye-bye now. Well, you can ask, why are you crooked? Well, I'm crooked because I can't get the phone to wedge any other way with the bracket that it has on it. That's the way of it. Anyway, I was telling you a story.